Hey guys, video number 2 today. Just had my little rant about the border wall protest things. But now I'm going to go even a little bit further and let's do an educational video. Now I did put one up about, you know, the economy and all that, but basically why, if you're in the middle, if you're maybe voted for Trump last time and maybe have a question, or if you're on the left and you're open to actually hearing reason, this is why you should vote for President Trump in 2020. So, and I'm not going to knock, you know, this isn't one of my all off on a leftist rant or a, you know, ranting against leftists or ranting about being conservative. I'm just trying to put, you know, just some straight information out there. When you look at, if you go back, and it takes a little research, I'm not saying take my word for it. I might be a little off on this, but in general, I'm right. If you go back and look at Obama's numbers for unemployment, for economic gains, and all that, when he was doing, or not him specifically, but when his administration through the Fed was doing the quantitative easing, things were going up a little bit. And Obama did do one thing in saying that he didn't raise the taxes until the economy was on better grounds. He kept saying, oh, no, we can't do that yet. We can't do that now because, you know, the economy can't take it. Well, he was smart enough to know, and it's like kind of saying, well, our policies are wrong and we know it because you can't raise taxes when the economy's bad because, you know, it'll kill jobs. It'll kill all that. Well, if you raise taxes and it kills jobs, why would you do it when the economy's good? It just sounds stupid to me, and they know this. They said it. But, okay, so if you look at his whole numbers and everything, the way it was going, towards the end of his administration, the last year and a half, the numbers are going back down. He did have some gains through using the quantitative easing and a couple things, and number one, just the fact that the economy sank so low, it had nowhere to go but up. You know, when you hit rock bottom, ain't but one way to go. And, you know, a lot of that was just the recovery that is basically going to happen because people want to work, and people want to invest and make money, and businesses want to do good business and all that. So, at that point, his policies, though, were going back into decline because he raised taxes again. He was big on regulation. He put a lot of regulation on business. And just the general, you know, Obamacare made it so that businesses didn't want to hire full-time because then they had to pay, you know, they kept it part-time at the point where they could. So people had to go get 2 part-time jobs, so 1 full-time job, and that was, you know, proven as part of what effects Obamacare had on the economy. So why we're going to vote for Trump? Well, Trump came in, and his economic policies, he's replaced every new regulation has replaced 5 old regulations. So he's on a 1 to 5 basis of getting rid of them. And the economic policy he has for taxes and all that has led to the economic situation that we have right now, which is better. The household income is up, household wealth is up, as a percentage more than it has been in the past, you know, like 60 years or whatever. Job market right now, there's more jobs than there are people to fill them. And you look at the just total unemployment is good. You look at unemployment across the board for all segments of our culture, and our populace is up, or down, but the workforce participation rate is up, which includes all that. And you take that, if you remember when Trump, his first trip overseas was to Saudi Arabia, and he did the whole Middle East tour, they were loving him, and he got real commitments from them. And now you look at his policies with the UN, like these member countries are paying their fair share liberals, you understand the word fair share. They're actually paying their fair share. They have responsibilities in that, and what they weren't paying, we were. I like his policy on Iran, even if you don't. I like his, obviously what he's doing with North Korea. His trade policies, well, everybody except China has agreed to renegotiate. I mean, either the EU trade union, Mexico, Canada, he's gotten all that accomplished. China's last holdout, and they're falling. They've, come and gone to the table a few times, but it's been more positive than negative. So, I mean, if you look at it, I mean, trade, yes. Economics for everybody is up. If you have a job, you want a better job, then it's really easy for you to go get that better job because there's job openings. And you look at everything that is a benefit out there, it all benefits you. Whether if you decide not to get into a better job and try and do this, then that's kind of on you, but it's there if you want to. It's your choice if you're not taking it. And economically, if you're in a job that you haven't got raises, if you tried to find a lateral move job, they would probably, another company would probably offer you more money to come do the same job. Or when you said, I'm leaving because I found more money so much, your job price said, well, can we match you? We give us a chance to make that better for you. Because they need employees. They know they can't just run right out and rehire you, especially if you have experience, especially if you have experience with that company. So all these things are better. It's going to benefit you. You've got, a couple things that if you're in the middle or on the left that you might not like, and I understand that. I just did a video on the immigration thing, and as a conservative or as even just an American, we have immigration laws, and our immigration system is broken, and Trump's trying to fix it. Now, I look at things that Trump is doing, like the whole DACA thing. He didn't say, I'm ending DACA. Listen and follow me if you're open-minded and honest. He didn't say, I'm ending DACA at first, or when he did it. What he said was, I am ending DACA in a certain period of time. I'm basically sending this back to Congress. If you want the DACA people here, fix it. Send me a bill for me to sign. They didn't. What he's trying to do is get it done the right way, because Obama just did it. And Obama even went out and says, when years before he did sign that executive order, he was saying, well, it's not constitutional. I can't just go do that. It's not constitutional. I can't. He knows it wasn't constitutional. He did. And for the most part, everybody who's honest admits, it wasn't a legal way to do it, whether or not you like it or not. And Trump wasn't even saying, I want to kick these people out. What he's basically saying is, okay, I'm going to give y'all a chance. Let's do it the right way. And they didn't. I mean, for Christ's sake, and everybody, you're the one that just ended the DACA program. He tried to say, hey, go do it the right way. Y'all refusing to do your job. So I don't want to hear that bull crap either. But a lot of what he's doing, if you actually pay attention to what Trump's doing, there are several things that he's done when he has ended some of these executive orders and then some of the stuff. He hasn't ended it just saying, I don't want it anymore. And it's the same way of what's been going on with the immigration. He's not really trying to, I'm with this and put it off. On several occasions, he's tried to get this back into Congress's hands and say, fix it, let's do our job. And they've refused. The border wall is really the first time that he's basically put a stomp down and said, I'm going to do basically executive order, emergency declaration, which is different than executive order, but I'm going to do this unilaterally because y'all are not acting. And I agree with that part of it because of the issue. And if you don't agree with the issue, he still has a right to do that. I don't care what you say. It'll come out in the courts anyway. Tough. So, I'm looking at, come 2020, what's going to be up there. You're going to have a Kamala Harris or an Elizabeth Warren or a socialist who wants to go back to even worse than Obama policies. And I say worse when it comes down to the socializations involved, but that's going to take jobs away. You're going to have, you can't have the opposite effects and have the same results. It's if you go back to the higher taxes and the regulation and all this stuff and start giving, you know, spending more federal money, it's going to have an effect. An effect is going to be your job. It could be your job, literally, but it's going to be jobs. It's going to be all kinds of stuff. It's going to have the same thing of what was happening in Obama's last year and a half. Okay, things are back turning around because of the policies that they want to go back to. So Trump's policies are what has gotten us these economic gains. If you take those policies away, you take the results of the policies away. You can't do the opposite and get better results in the same direction. That's just not the way it works. When you have policies that are the opposite, then you get the opposite results. And traffic in Atlanta. Ooh. And as far as the foreign policy stuff goes, you know, all that's around well. You look at trade. I mean, for Christ's sakes, trade is working well. If you look at, you know, his policy with Iran, what he's been doing in the Middle East, if you look at what he is doing in especially North Korea, and, you know, they're getting pushed to the point that they're not going to have a choice but to do it, because they're going to be starved out, for Christ's sakes. I mean, what can you do? And they're not going to have much of a choice there either. So everything's a benefit right now. It really is. And if you go to the opposite policies, you're going to get the opposite effects. You're going to lose jobs. You're going to lose household income. You're going to lose household wealth. You're going to lose, you know, if you go back to the policies in the UN, then we're going to spend more money there. And if you push it too far, you're going to have a really bad effect in that wrong direction. I'm not talking about, like, you know, a couple 100,000 jobs. I'm talking about millions of jobs if they really go full on socialist. Now, here's my question. Do you think that people, now, keep in mind that the people of Venezuela voted for socialism. They were not a socialist country. They voted for Hugo Chavez. If you go back and look, Venezuela, on a scale of the average household wealth and income, now total money, because they don't have that many people, they didn't have as much money as the United States. They were up there pretty good with the United States. They had business, they had jobs, they had all this stuff. And, you know, before Hugo Chavez nationalized the oil industry, Exxon was in there giving jobs, BP was in there giving jobs, you had tourists, you had all this stuff going on in Venezuela, and it wasn't good enough. These people who were like your average worker here, okay, you're working at wherever, T-Mobile, and making $15 an hour in America, and you're looking at a guy driving his Lamborghini. Well, it's not fair, you've got a Lamborghini, I don't. So I'm gonna vote for socialism. Okay, do you think the people who voted for socialism in Venezuela thought, oh, I'll vote for socialism so that in 12 years I'm digging through garbage cans trying to find food and rioting in the streets because there's no jobs, no hope, no food, no medical care, no nothing? What do you think you're going to get if you vote for socialism? Oh, everything will just be free. And okay, vote for it. You get the government you deserve. When it turns like that, or if it turns down and you're the one that loses your job, you don't have a right to complain. You're the one that voted to put it in there. And when it doesn't work out, when there's not just free shit, because it never is, nobody's going to work and keep working just to support you and give you money. And that's the fallacy of socialism. Oh, you see all this money in here and stuff like that. You know what? When you start taking 70 and 80% of what people make, they quit making. You know, the people that's got $2 million in the bank and go make 400 grand a year and they spend it so they're not, you know, that's why they don't have $10 million in the bank. they figure out a way to live on the $2 million instead of going and making 400 just to keep 80,000 of it. And trust me, it will happen. Then there's no taxes to take when they don't make it. When there's no taxes to take, guess what? There's nothing to pay for your free shit. And that's what happened in Venezuela. And that's what will happen in America if you try it here. It might take a while. It took a while to get that way in Venezuela, but eventually the money ran out. And you have to understand, we're $21 trillion in debt. That will build up on what we can spend a lot quicker than what it built up on Venezuela. So ask yourself that. Do you think they thought, well, I'm voting to be digging through trash cans in 12 years. I'm voting to be starving in 12 years. I'm voting for my kids to be starving in 12 years. I'm voting to have no medical care for me and my kids in 12 years. No, they thought they were getting free shit. Think about that when you vote.